Hello?
Hello.
Hey, Tove. What's happening?
Hey, 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 sorry. Let me disconnect from my Wi-Fi here. I think I have like a poor latency on this.
No worries. Take your time.
Hello.
Hello? Hey, Tove?
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yep. Loud and clear.
There we go. How's your tooth?
I'm still getting some throbbing pain for that tooth, but I took painkillers just a few minutes ago, so I hope that'll help. Yeah. Thanks for
Is it
asking.
getting
Yeah.
good?
I'm sorry?
Did they give you anything good for the?
Ibuprofen, those like off the shelf generic drugs.
Oh,
Nothing too
really?
strong. Nothing too strong. Yeah.
That's too
Unfortunately.
bad. That's too bad.
Unfortunately. I was hoping for morphine. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so yeah. So tell me what you're thinking in terms of how to proceed forward. I didn't really put it together before. I was going back through some of the stuff you had sent me.
Huh?
And I guess we hadn't really spoken. So I've actually downloaded Wobot before when I
Right.
was doing research on different like technology, medical apps. I had downloaded it, and I think maybe I opened it once and never really ended up playing around with it. But I was aware of it. So you worked on Wobot.
Right. I mean, they use dialog flow initially for your Facebook Messenger bot, and it's just like you train your natural learning processing model, and the longer you train it, and the more data you receive, the better and more accurate robot is. So it just started off as a very simple, basic dialog flow, Google dialog flow chatbot, and then it just evolved and learned, and then become what it is now. Yeah.
Cool. So are you? I noticed I didn't realize before, but you had actually sent me a link to the source code for Wobot.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, I wouldn't know how to read source code anyway. I'm not a programmer. But so what's your connection with the company now, and what's the like in terms of like using your experience from that? I mean, how much of that can you draw on? And what's the relationship with that other person that reached out to me on Skype
Oh yeah.
or on was it Skype or WeChat? Skype.
Yeah. Skype. So she's sort of a my partner in crime, and she's more involved in the marketing, promotions, advertising side of things for our agency. And then basically, like, if you have any questions, just shoot any messages to her. She should be more responsive. I mean, you're getting two heads for the price of one. So I just want you to feel like you're getting all the support you need. So basically, she's just my partner. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, but she's more on the marketing side of things.
Right. She's doing like she's done a lot of market research. So she actually helped out with my healthcare startup in terms of marketing, market sizing, valuation, getting investors, testing the overall potential market and the customers' feedback, all this stuff. So she was responsible for that. I'm
Okay.
more of the
Cool.
technical guy.
What
Yeah.
and what's your medical startup?
It's a mental health platform. It uses AI to connect the right licensed therapist to you
Oh,
as a
right. You told me
patient.
that. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You told me about that.
Right.
Yeah, it sounds interesting.
Yeah, and
Um,
was because she was initially looking for someone who would help build out this chatbot. She's in the mental health space, and then she's a psychologist, and I think she just needed some technical team to help her kick off this idea she had. And yeah,
oh, was she the client for Wobot?
I'm sorry.
Was she the client for Wobot? was she?
She Allison is the co-founder of Wobot. She's
Oh,
a
she is.
co-founder.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And
Oh,
so
okay. So
I
you
mean
both have experience in
yeah,
developing this stuff. That's great.
but I mean I don't talk to her anymore. She just like I was the guy who she outsourced the stuff to, and then my contract expired. Now I don't have any relationship with the company anymore. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But you obviously you're still on good terms with her because she reached out to me.
Yeah. Um. Hopefully, I don't know. I can't say. I haven't talked to her for a long, long time.
Maybe she's maybe she's spying on you.
Hopefully not. Yeah. That would be strange.
Yeah. Let me ask you. So you obviously have built like a platform like this before, in terms of like the chatbot side of things, Wobot. So how much of a conversation or kind of texted about it? The more I've thought about it, there's kind of the two sides of the functionality of the chatbot that I kind of need. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I
one
got.
of
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say one of which is kind of the essential side, which is much less complicated, which is the basically just the patient intake side. So it's just a function of gathering the information from the patient and then converting that into paragraph, natural language format,
Mhm.
so that it can populate the doctor's notes to
Right.
cut down on the charting time for the doctor,
Right.
and then the other side of it, which is obviously the more complex side, is the differential diagnosis side of it.
Right.
But if we kind of attacked it in two phases, like how much of your work from Wobot would you be able to apply to the first phase of this in getting up and running? Like what kind of timeline do you think we're talking about?
If you want to just copy straight from Wobot and copy their scripts, I mean, we can do that and apply it to phase one. Phase one.
Yeah.
To collect the data. So that's pretty straightforward. But I don't know about how the company thinks about we just ripping them off. Well, not ripping them off, but just copying straight from their existing chatbot. But we can tweak it a little bit, make it like Wobot, but the script is different. The persona is different for the chatbot, and then collect data through that chatbot. And the second phase is more of AI sentiment analysis. The link you gave me is more applicable in this sense. So for phase two, we're talking about building a sentiment model and like providing insights for the doctors. So phase one is pretty straightforward. You're looking at about 2 weeks to 2 months. Phase two, there's training time required, so maybe 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Obviously, 2 weeks to 2 months is a pretty big range there. I mean, 2 weeks seems awfully fast. I guess it kind of, obviously I know it's very sensitive with what I'm saying in terms of Wobot. So it's kind of whatever you're comfortable with. I don't know exactly what the relationship is, and anyway, I'll just leave it at that. But
Mm.
I'm looking for a quick path forward here,
Right.
and maybe if the thing ended up being robust enough, maybe it's something that can kind of stand on its own as well, outside of our application for it. Like, because I know like companies like Informatica and Giant and Maya,
Mm.
they sell their AI tool to other companies, where
Yeah.
initially we're just kind of looking at this from an internal usage standpoint,
Uh huh.
and but maybe that it has legs beyond that as well.
Right.
And so, in terms of the kind of wireframing and putting the plan together, what kind of timeline do you think we'd be looking at just to kind of get this going forward?
Yeah. Great question. So as soon as you list out all the milestones, or send an offer over Upwork or other means, I can get this started right away, and a wireframe can be done in a matter of 2 business days, no more than 2 business days.
Oh,
So you can have a look and then give us some feedback, and we can work back and forth using that wireframe. Yeah. So that's how
Yeah.
we can work.
Yep. That sounds good. All right. Well, I think that sounds pretty straightforward. Let me just, apprise my partners of what I'm kind of planning to do here, and then I think, probably midweek we should be able to start moving forward on this. Like Wednesday-ish.
Yeah.
Um,
Sounds great.
and then just so the other thing that I sent you, here's the story on that. And I don't know if it's out of your wheelhouse or not, but it's just AI related. I mean, it's AI, so I didn't know whether or not it might be something that you would have some insight on or some applicable knowledge for.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I got interested in this is so I'm a cyclist.
Oh wow. Me too. Me too.
Um,
Amateurish.
you are?
Amateurish.
Yeah,
I,
cool. Yeah,
I
no,
just
me
commute.
too. I was like,
Yeah, I commute by bike. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
cool. No, I race competitively. I was supposed to
Oh
race in
wow.
the World Championships in like a month and a half, but because of COVID, I don't know if I'm gonna fly there because the World Championships are in California.
Okay.
Uh, and anyway, but because of that, cyclists spend a lot of time looking at the weather. They want to know what direction the wind's coming from, if there's rain coming in, and so I ended up, using this app called Dark Sky, which is the link that I sent you. And Dark Sky was just like hands down, in my opinion, the best weather app out there.
Yeah. Okay.
Super cheap. They only charge people like $3 a year, $4 a year to use the app,
Mm-hmm.
and they call it like hyper local weather, and its ability to like tell you that like you have rain coming in 45 minutes
Okay.
or 10 minutes was pretty astounding.
Right.
And it was right like 99% of the time.
Wow.
I mean, of course, in reading those articles, it makes kind of sense what they're saying. It's very difficult, and it had like that's basically the core of the AI side of it, was the interpretation of publicly available weather data, because
Okay.
anyone can patch into the weather stations and get that data. All the Android users, of which I'm one,
Mm.
Apple bought the company, and they bought the company
Mm.
specifically for the purpose of shutting it down for Android users. Uh,
Ooh.
and so they folded the functionality of the app, or they're doing it right now, into Apple's built-in weather application.
Okay.
Uh,
So they
and
were
they
trying to.
discontinued use for all Android users,
Okay. They were trying to
which kind of
limit. Yeah.
sucked,
Okay.
especially since there was revenue to be had there. So it's just more about the way Apple does business,
Okay.
because obviously they could have just copied the app as well. If you looked at their Kickstarter, it
Yeah.
wasn't even like it took them that much funding to develop the AI model that they built. Um,
Yeah.
so I was like, you know what, screw Apple. I was like, I wonder what it would take to reverse engineer their app. And then when so I started talking to people about that, specialize in apps, and it seemed like reverse engineering the app wasn't, too hard of a thing to do. But it's, once you get the data, interpreting it, to be able to give back the analysis, I think so in the one of the articles it referenced that they're using, convolutional neural networks, which I've used before on the forex trading stuff I was telling you about.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I thought I'd just float it out there to you and see if, like, you have had any experience with anything like this. I mean, obviously it's image processing more than anything else.
It's I think it's a predictive model. It predicts weather
Yeah,
using a
oh,
bunch of data,
exactly.
and it's less of an imagery thing. I think unless it uses satellite graphs to predict looming weather conditions, which I doubt because data is more accurate than images when it comes to
Okay.
predicting weather. So given that given that fact, predictive model would be applicable in this case. Yeah, we can reverse engineer it, but I mean, they have a team, and since Google bought it, I think because of the competition reason, um, I do need to do some research and see if there's any open source out there, and yeah, that requires some research. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay. I mean,
hey, Tove. I'm
it's
sorry.
just
My
the.
my
Sorry. Go ahead.
my 10 o'clock is up. I have a 10 o'clock appointment. Is it okay if we can reconvene in half an hour, or 45 minutes? I'm sorry. Yeah, my 10 o'clock just.
Actually, I think we're pretty much done here today. So take your
Okay,
meeting,
I'm
and
sorry.
I'll check in with you tomorrow.
All right. Thanks so much. Thanks for understanding.
Thanks, Wilson.
Yeah. Have
I
a
hope
good
you
day.
feel better.
Bye. All right. Thank you.